Hey everybody, what's up?
Hey, hey.
Looks like people are slowly coming in today. Open up the chat here. How you guys doing?
I'm
Good, I
doing
hope.
great. I'm doing
You doing
great.
good,
Things
Stephen?
are things are
Everybody's
green
being quiet.
outside. Yeah, I'm waiting for some folks to chat. Make sure to
Good.
choose all panelists and attendees, all that jazz. Peter's back. Hey, Peter.
What's up, Peter? All right, so people are coming in. 20 so
We love
people.
you too.
Hello.
It's so fun to see like consistent names and feel like I know you even though we don't.
Cheryl's here, Matt's here, Anthony's here. Matt, Anthony, and Stephen. Make sure, oh, Stephen's not true. Anthony, Matt, make sure you switch over to all panelists and attendees. Um, so that we can talk to everybody. Get her done again. All right, here we go. So before I get started, I've got a list of notes. We're going to dive into some stuff. I want to know, our last day of teaching, what are some things that you might want more clarity on, or you want me to dive into deeper today? I've got a couple notes. We're going to talk about some like a promotion schedule. I think I talked about doing a launch schedule. We can do that. I'm going to talk about some more spam stuff as well. And then we're going to talk about headlines for a little bit. But what else? Segments versus tags. We can dive into that. But anything else that you guys have had lingering that you want to know more about? Subject lines. Cool. Conditional logics on the automation. Be more specific, Thomas. I'd love to hear more. Aweber versus ConvertKit. Cool. Some of the stuff we'll do. Cool. So we'll definitely talk subject lines. I love it. Stephen saying he regurgitated what he learned here. This is awesome. Good. I'm glad you impressed him. I just got out of a big pitch today too, so I know that feeling. It feels good when you impress the clients in that pitch. So nurturing sequence. Okay, cool. Oh, I have not posted the Google Docs. I don't think. I think just the videos have been posted. Okay, so some of these questions are ConvertKit specific, and if you want the ConvertKit specific stuff versus Aweber, we'll do that next week. I'm thinking about doing it on the same time next week, maybe on Thursday. So maybe Thursday. And yes, we'll give access to the automation. We're going to give you access to the Google Doc. We won't have all that stuff done this week, unfortunately. It's going to take a little bit of time to put that together, but cool. Okay, so first, let's talk about headlines a little bit. Now, I'm going to admit, Stephanie Flaxman, who's the editor-in-chief of Copyblogger, is much better at teaching this. And she taught last month the content writing masterclass and had an entire section about headlines. So for more in-depth, talk to Stephanie. Go watch that masterclass. Email us if you were interested in signing up for that. We'll give you access to it. It's currently closed, but I'll make sure that you can get access to it if you're interested. But I'll just give you a couple frameworks really quickly here, and I'm going to make sure chat's back up. And then we'll dive into a particular promo schedule. All right. Boom, boom. Hey, Shannon. All right. There's two frameworks to help you write better headlines. So first of all, and the headlines and subject lines work really similarly as well. So the logic kind of goes back and forth. So Copyblogger has a ton of articles. If you just search Copyblogger headlines, you will learn for a long time. I'm going to post, Stephen is going to make sure that the two links to the articles that I think are the best in Copyblogger get posted under the video today, so you guys have access to this. But first is the 3 questions, and then second is the 4 U's of headlines. Have you guys read these articles on Copyblogger before? Have you heard of these principles? Awesome. Yeah. So some of you guys have read those. So I'm gonna hit on them briefly just to kind of do a refresher. First, the 3 questions. When you write a headline or a subject line, ask these questions. Who will benefit? Who will benefit from this content? How do I help them? And what makes this content special? That'll be super helpful. So Stephen will drop a link to that article. And then the 4 U's are useful, urgent, unique, and ultra specific way. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There you go. Steven's going to post those links. Just look at those links. That's going to give you everything you need to write really good subject lines. And I want to just touch on it really briefly. Like, subject lines are super important. The whole point of a subject line is that if the subject line isn't compelling, people are likely not going to open your email. And it's super important. That plays into engagement and deliverability and people clicking links and conversions. It's a huge, huge thing. So read those 2 articles. I'm not a headline ninja like Stephanie is specifically, but read those 2 articles. That will be a good starting point for you. One thing I will mention that is super important that is rarely ever talked about is your from name and email addresses. And I'm actually going to go to this one. Hold on one second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so you guys don't see a couple things that are private. And back. Boom. All right. So you'll see there are a lot of sending email addresses that we have. One thing that we've changed recently is Daryl at Copyblogger, Brian Clark at Copyblogger. A lot of people, if they have a brand, they just send it as like the name of the brand. And I think that's a really it's kind of a boring thing to do. And it just doesn't have the same level of engagement as it would if you sent I first learned this from Buffer. You guys remember the Buffer? You guys remember, Buffer, the social media scheduling application? SaaS company. They used to do that. Joel from Buffer. So just make sure that it's compelling. Like if you have a brand name, have your name and the brand name in there together. Make sure that it's not just sending as your email address. I said a lot of times too, where it just shows up as, whatever the email address might be. Don't do this. We literally never use this one right here, ever, just from Copyblogger. It's always coming from a person at Copyblogger, Stephanie at Copyblogger, Brian, Daryl. So think about that. That again is another thing. It will make sure that your people are engaging with the email a little bit more too. It's kind of like a thing that's not often talked about that is actually super, super helpful in getting people to open your email. When I just do, so if just my full name, that's a good question, Shannon. I just do my full name, Daryl Westerfelt. I just make it sure it comes from Daryl Westerfelt. So whatever your email service provider is, just make sure that it's set up from, it's set up correctly, because this is not, I think just organically, it just comes from the email address. So just make sure this is set up, because it's something that is super, super easy. So, I had the wrong thing shared. Let's go back here. All right, this is the thing that I want to talk about most today. Actually, I'm going to show you a couple tools. So first tool, we talked about spam yesterday. This is a really cool way to test the spamminess of your emails. So it's called mail-tester.com. Steven's going to drop the link in for that. Mail-tester.com. You can see that right up here. What you do is you copy this email address, then you go into your email account, and I'm going to go back to this one. You can basically test the spamminess of it. You guys know how to send test emails from your different accounts. This will be super helpful. So basically say like, how spammy is your content? We're gonna try this really quickly. Send a preview to here. Whoops. So we're gonna copy this. Send preview, sent, and check your score. So now it's checking the spamminess of my email. This is especially helpful if you're sending sales emails or pitch emails. You're wanting to make sure that it is not super spammy. And when it's done, we're under the coconut tree. 9.7 out of 10. So it's saying, spam assassin thinks I can approve. You're not fully authenticated. You have DMARC. You do not have a DMARC record. Anyways, that's a pretty good score. Yeah, so this is about some of the more specific like sender IP stuff that's like master levels, even beyond my pay grade understanding. But so it's good. 9.7 out of 10. So that's a really cool thing if you guys want to test that out. Now, this tool is the tool that we're going to stick on for most of today, at least during this next section of what we're talking about. It's called Drip Scripts. Have you guys ever heard of Drip Scripts before? If somebody says yes, I'm going to be surprised. No, 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 no. Cool. Okay. So this is so cool. All right. I want to show you guys this. Oh, I got to enter my password. So what Drip Scripts is it gives you an outline for what emails to write for a couple different things. So a new subscriber welcome, a webinar invite, a product validation, a post-webinar sales sequence, a product launch, cold subscriber re-engagement. Like this is stuff that we talked about, right? So there's all kinds of different, basically, categories for emails. So yeah, drop that, if you can drop that in there, Stephen. I think it's just dripscripts.com. Drop that link in there for everybody. So let's do the product launch one. And here's what's cool is they actually have different ones here. I actually know almost all of these guys, which is cool. So we're gonna do the growth. Let me do this one. So look at this. It actually gives you kind of like a tip of how to write the email. So in this one, there's 8 total emails. There's a pre-launch email. Here, it kind of gives you the goal of what this is. Number 2 is launch preview number 1. It gives you the goal here. Kind of gives you some like tips on how to write this stuff. This is really cool. This is a really, really, really cool tool that'll kind of help you give you an idea of what type of content you need to create for different things. So we're going to give you like a Google sheet of what I suggest, but this is a really awesome tool. I had one of my clients use this to promote one of their webinars, and basically, you know, she had the concept for the webinar. She was teaching about bread making, actually. So she was making bread, and she just input her content underneath the script that I gave her, and she did very, very well from it. So this is a completely, I'll mention this, this is a completely free tool, like absolutely free. The company that's behind it is called Growth Tools from Brian Harris. They make money from other things that they do, other coaching programs and things like that. So they put out these free tools that are absolutely free for you guys to use, and check it out. It's really, really, really cool. So absolutely free. Let me see if I can have one, just a product launch one. This is like the basics of a really good product launch or like a promotion. You guys could do this for any type of timed promotion where a promotion starts and then it ends in a period of time. I literally could teach an entire masterclass around the psychology of launches and psychology launches specifically around email, specifically around email. I've done this so many times. I was trying to add it up one day a few weeks ago. I think I've done something like between my own products and my clients' products, like $27 million in product launches. It's a lot. It's like I've been doing this for a long, long time. And this tool, I'm telling you, this is like the basics for an incredible launch if you're going to launch anything. So I'm just going to walk you through these 6 emails really quickly. So I love it. I love it. Rocco, thanks. Rocco says the best $149 he has ever spent on training, and I still have a day left. This is awesome. Cool. So 6 emails. Here's the logic. Just really quickly, the psychology when you're sending out emails around a pitch. We mentioned this yesterday. Emails are responsible for something like 90 to 100% of sales in promotions that we do. So it's a huge deal. So the writing the copy is a huge deal, a huge deal. So what to write in these emails is really important. Obviously the product matters as well, but this is really, really important. So what we're going to do, I'm walking through these 6, and then we'll dive into some more deeper questions that you guys have. And we have a whole day full of questions tomorrow as well. So let's see. Doors are now open, time sensitive. Last thing I'll say about a launch sequence like this specifically. This is kind of the same idea. Oh, we should talk about deadline funnel. Have you guys heard of deadline funnel? Do y'all know what that is? Nope. Okay. We're going to talk about deadline funnel tomorrow. Alan, who's on the team and sets up all the deadline funnels, I'm going to have him come on and walk us through a deadline funnel. But one thing that makes a promo super successful is a few things. One, obviously a good product. But 2 is the psychology of how people buy. They don't buy until they can't buy, if that makes sense. So having a product, if you have an online course or a product that you're selling, having it for sale all of the time is sometimes less effective than having it for sale for a short period of time where registration might be closing. So this product launch specifically, let's pretend we're selling an online course. I know that some of you guys are service people, and some of you guys have products, like physical products that you sell. But the promo idea works across the board, but we're just going to do an online course because it's going to be easier for me to communicate about just in this moment. So when I do a product launch and we're sending emails about a product I'm going to launch, I will open registration for a course. Like we did it with this masterclass. I'm going to inception you guys right now a little bit. We did a light version of this for this masterclass. Hey, it's available on this day, and then registration closes on this day. So it's an open and close enrollment, right? That is super important. It makes it a lot more effective than if I just said, hey, I have this training about email marketing. I hope you guys like it. Go sign up whenever you feel like it. People have to be called to action, and they have to be pushed towards making a decision. So the ways that they can be pushed towards making a decision is saying, you can't have it anymore. Another thing that you can do is you can do some discounting. And so the sensitivity can be around, it's normally $99, but I'm going to sell it for $49. But on Tuesday, it's going back up to $99. Does that all make sense? Are you guys tracking with me there? You would be surprised at how predictable human behavior is when it comes to buying things. There are really, I'm going to say there's really three kinds of people. There are the people who are going to buy it as soon as it's available. There are the people who are going to wait all the way till the end. And then there are people who are going to buy it after they learn all of the information that they need to learn. Does that make sense? There's really 3 types of people. So this first email, you can see here, the goal of this email is to get your subscribers to click the link to your sales page so they can learn more about the product you're launching. Ideally, you've already given them advance notice of the product launch to build anticipation and desire. Yes, tell them about it a week before. The card is open. Registration is now open, or the discount is now live, whatever it is. The goal is to get them here. So Brian has a really good script for this here. This kind of sets in motion what it's going to be. One thing he doesn't have in this, I guess he does here. This offer will be gone in just a few days. I would be ultra specific here. So I would say, in an ultra specific way, I would say this offer is going away in just a few days. I would say this offer is going away on Thursday at 7 o'clock. Like, I'd be ultra specific here. Okay, so that's email one. Cart open, just click. You can see it's pretty short, but it's just to get people to click to the sales page. Email number two, he calls it problem, agitate, solve. I generally call this the problem email. The goal of this email is to get problem-aware subscribers to click through to your sales page by speaking to their problem and positioning your product as a solution. So this email is super important. This is what we talked about a little bit before, where I said you want to let the person who's reading this email know that you understand their problem. Does that make sense? So, hey, I know that you have this problem, and I know how to solve it, and this thing that I'm selling you can solve it. So that's the second email in the sequence. This usually goes out the second day. So day one, day two, day three. Social proof email. The goal of this email is to overcome skepticism somebody might have about your product. So I can tell you my product is awesome, but if somebody else tells you instead, like I just love this from Rocco. Rocco, you were like, hey, this is the best money I've ever spent on training, the best 149 I've ever spent on training. Well, if I tell you, hey, this is the best money you'll ever spend on training, or if Rocco says it, which one's more believable, right? Like, if Rocco says it's super important. So this third email is to get past customers to give you social proof so that they can sell on your behalf for you. Super important. So number four is FAQs. Now, I often call this email the objection crusher email. So this is what I was talking about, the third type of person who's like needs to know all the information. So oftentimes I don't even write this email. If I'm doing a live product launch, I don't even write this email until I see what how people are responding to these first three, right? So somebody's like, well, when we do this, oh, good question, actually, really quickly. What about when the product is new and we don't have social proof yet? That's really good, Ulysses. That's a really good question. I then tell a personal story about how my product or service or whatever it is helped me overcome the problem. So in that email, I say, like, I use myself as a social proof, and I tell a story like I'm the proof, if that makes sense. So yes, people respond to these emails all the time, which is the next question, Shannon. People actually respond. Yeah, people respond to these emails all the time. Now, we're going to use the masterclass as an example. So this masterclass. Hey, like, will I get to watch recordings of this later? Hey, what happens if I don't like this? Will I be able to get a refund? Like, those questions come in all the time. I mean, we probably, for this particular promotion, got 150 to 200 people replying. Peter, I love it. And so people just have questions, right? Like, there are people who are just questioners. Like, they need to have all the information before they make an informed decision. So those people are super important part of your audience. Help them answer those questions. So you'll learn this better over time. Answer all the questions. Some of these emails that I send out, sometimes they have 10 questions in the email. Like, I'm literally going to answer every single question they have, period. So I'm gonna do that. And then in the future, like right now, I think we're doing like 3 or 4 questions in our objection crusher email. What this does is it helps you write these emails better and your sales page better so people have less questions in the future. But this is a super important email. Email number 5 is the cart close. So this is on the last day. Hey, just so you know, this offer, the price reduction or registration is closing. It's coming to a close today. So remind your subscribers that your launch is ending so they have an urgency to purchase. Then this email is the final chance. And I think we talked about this a little bit. Hey, in just a few hours, I'm shutting the doors on my new local SEO service for realtors. This is the one that I send to people. Um, uh, the email that you send to people who have clicked on any of these emails. I send it to any of these emails got clicked where they clicked the sales page, but they haven't yet purchased. So remember we did that segmentation on the second day. We talked about that segmentation. Anybody who's clicked on any of these emails, but they have not bought, are the only ones who get this email. So that's the basic premise really quickly. So this is for specifically for a live product launch. One thing that I will say is that's not in this script is I always allow people to opt out because this is a lot of emails to get over a 5-day period, right? So 6 emails in 5 days, it's a lot of emails. It's super important to send every single one of them. But if somebody's not interested in your product, give them a way to opt out so that they're not getting the future emails without having to click unsubscribe from your email list. So Shannon, that's a great question. Which emails do you get the most sales from? Great question. I'm curious, which ones do you guys think I get the most sales from? Which one do you think? It's literally like a framework. Every single time there's one that gets the most and then there's 2 after that. So yes, the last chance one, you're right. This is the one that gets the most sales, period. What other 2 do you think are super important? I love it. So actually, it's this one and it's this one. Like those 2 are the super important ones. So it's the first one. This one is this, like these 2 are like kind of tied. And then this one is the most. These ones get almost no sales. They get almost no sales. So it's kind of like a reverse bell curve. So you start really high and then you go down and then you go back up again. So what are your thoughts on long form emails to reduce the numbers of emails in the sequence? I don't think they don't work. Long form emails don't work in replace of the number of emails. The number of emails are the thing that's important to do. You have to remember, you're telling a story here. Like the narrative is told over a period of time. So if you send one long email, you're kind of missing out on the time frame. Like you've lost the linear piece of it. And so you're really telling a story over a period of time. So I think it's really, really important to have all of these emails that are sent out. Anthony, great question. How about if a person never clicks on any of the links? At what point do they stop receiving emails from the sequence? When it's over. That's when they're done. So they have an option to click and to be removed out of it, or they have the option to see the emails and not respond to them, or they have the option to click on the links and buy something. So yes, these emails are sent daily. 6 emails, 5 days. You send 5 emails in 6 days. You can space that out to 7 days if you want to. So people missed out. So how about after the fact? You missed out, but can you buy the recording? So for this one specifically, no. Like we'll maybe put this on, we'll maybe open the recordings later, but that will be a different strategy. Like the strategy for this product launch, once it's over, it's over. And then I maybe do it again. Like we'll do another one again next month, right? So yes, 1 email per day for the product launch. Does that all make sense? What other questions? I'm gonna move on after this, but let me know what other questions you have about this specifically. Okay, good question. Days of the week. I like doing this like a Thursday to a Monday. So starting on a Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Monday. I love doing it that way. Other people doing like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday. So I like doing that. You also could space this out like 7 days if you wanted to. You could do like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, something like that. You could figure that out. I like Thursday to Monday because it gives people the ability to make a decision over the weekend. Thursday is a better day for selling than Friday generally, because I don't know about you guys. Friday night, I'm like, peace out. Like I'm not looking at my email. I may look at it sporadically over the weekend, which is like really good to have some of these, like more information if I'm really curious about the product. But like Friday at 5 o'clock, like my phone's down and I'm ordering pizza. Like we have pizza night every Friday at our house. So I'm done. I'm out, checked out. And then Monday is a really good day to close it on. Like I never want to close a promotion over the weekend, but a Monday is a really good day to close it on because people are back in action. So you are back engaged. So that's generally what I do. I've played around with a lot of different things. I've done this kind of thing like from a Tuesday to the following Wednesday. So I've spaced it out a little bit more. So you could do that. But I always hate ending promotions on a Friday. So I don't do that. What other questions really quickly? Oh, time of day. I send all of these early in the morning, like super early in the morning. And then this one is usually like 4 hours before your close of promotion or time. So yeah, like 7 a.m. or 5 a.m., like early. Like I want it to be the first thing, like I want it to be in their inbox by the time they sit down with their computer or open their phone. Generally speaking. Yeah, that's a great point, Tom. Consider your audience and when they might be checking their email specifically. So I usually talk to people who are in business for Copyblogger. So most of the people are freelancers or they're marketers. They work for another company. So I want it to be that, like, I know that when people sit down at their desk in the morning, they check their email right away. So I want my email to be there so that they can not get distracted by a bunch of other stuff when they get started with the day. So yes, that's a very good point, Tom. Consider your audience and when they might be checking their email. If you are like a consumer, like if you have consumer goods, people might not check their personal email during work. So you may want to wait to send emails until the evening, maybe like 4:00 p.m. because you're wanting it to be top of their inbox when they get home from work, and then they can engage in their consumer goods. So think about that. We are consulting with a restaurant right now, a restaurant chain, and we're going to be sending emails like 4:00, right? So like 4:00, we're sending emails because we want people like, oh man, you know what? I didn't even think about dinner tonight. Like I need to go sit down at this restaurant. So that's super important. That's funny, Heidi. Heidi says she's been A/B testing some sending times with college students, and they're unpredictable. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, one thing I want to talk about with A/B testing. This is something that I think is a big freaking waste of time that people do all the time. And I think people just get caught up in the minutia of this. The only time I would suggest that you do A/B split testing on your headlines, and so here's how this works, is you write two different headlines, and then ConvertKit sends out a ConvertKit sends out a small chunk of emails, like I think it's 15% or 10%, and whichever one of these, and they do it 50-50. So, you know, they send option one to half the group, they send option two to the other half of the group, and whichever one performs better, they send the rest of the group, so maybe the 90% to the rest of the group. I don't like this. Unless you're really just getting started with headlines and you haven't done email marketing before, this might be a good way to learn how to write headlines. But here's what I'll say. I think marketers get really caught up in this. And generally when I've seen people do A/B split testing, there's like a variance of like 2 to 5% difference in the open rates. And that is such a small variant that it's not really helpful. Like there's so many other variables about the groups of people that were sent out that you don't actually know which subject line was better or not. So the only time I would ever suggest doing this with A/B split testing is if you are just getting started and you kind of want to learn how to do it better for the first time. So, all right, I'm done a little bit early today. What other things can I dive into either to clarify from today or from past days? We have a whole other session tomorrow to talk through anything that you guys might think about. Spam. What question about spam specifically? We talked a lot about spam yesterday, but what other things? And then Daniela, what specifically about bounced emails do you mean? Because ConvertKit and I think everybody else automatically handle bounced emails for you. So I don't generally think about bounced emails, what to do with them. So what is the best way to deliver our incentive PDF white paper? Great question. I will tell you the easiest way to do it, and I will tell you the fastest way to do it. Or sorry, I'll do the fastest and easiest, and I'll tell you the way that I do it. Cool. So, PDF. ConvertKit does this really easily. Let's go to landing pages and forms. So remember how we do the 2-form opt-in, or double opt-in? A little form here. We're doing inline. We're gonna make a really pretty one, and the ebook is gonna sit right there. We're gonna choose this one. All right, so there's the form. Send me the guide, and then here's your double your incentive email. So you can edit the email contents here. So important, confirm your subscription. So I'm going to change this to important. Download your PDF. Thanks for signing up. Click the button below to confirm your subscription. And I will give you your PDF. Boom. I'm going to change this in the button to say get, whoa, whoops. I actually think I have to edit that button. It just changed this. Okay. So then what you do is it can be a download. So then you can choose a file. You can upload a file right here. Upload a file. There's a pitch from my pitch deck I could upload. You upload the file and it will automatically send it out for you. So that's the easiest way of doing it. I don't do it that way. So what I do is, I'm gonna leave here. I love it. Peter said he's changing ConvertKit. Super easy. What I do, it's a little bit harder, but I like this process a little bit better, is I have the welcome sequence. I actually create a page on my website. That's a thank you page. And so they go to my website and then they click to download it. I don't know why I like doing that better. I've been doing it for a long time that way, but I'll actually put a link in this email, this first email that goes out. I put it inside of this process. And then I put it on my website. So it's a pretty simple process. I'm gonna see if I can find an example on a client website. Let's see if this does it. Yeah, so this is what we do. So thank you, get your free ebook. And then you can just like put an image of it here. I think the reason I like this is it gives a little bit better brand experience than if you just have it in the email alone. So hey, click here, you can download it. Then they also could save this link for later if they wanted to. So I just kind of like this a little bit better. And if you put it on your website, how do you keep it from being a discoverable page? Well, Karen, I don't think anybody's going to guess this URL. So generally people aren't like guessing the URLs. So I just leave it there and people don't find it generally. So I don't really worry about that so much. So yes, the link takes people to a page on the website. So this link, I would just say, get your ebook, and I would link to this page with some of the people here. And they click this button, they would download it. So this is a client of ours. We built this website for her. It's really pretty, isn't it? So this is how she has her download pages as well. So what other questions might you have? Stephen, you can come back on now.
Hey, hey. We've got a couple in the official Q&A thing here too. So
Cool.
yeah, so Tom asked, do you believe in your experience that subject lines are just as important for an email as they are for a blog or other types of content?
Yeah, more important for email. But yeah,
boom.
We can go back and forth. I think they're important. Either people are not going to click on the link from social or somewhere else to view your blog post, but they're also maybe not going to click on the email to open it.
Yeah, I'm reminded of
really what you could put me on either side here, and I could argue either way. To be honest,
either way,
it's just really important. So.
Well, I'm just reminded of like what you said yesterday, where all of your other strategy is serving email, right? And so all of that's pointless if nobody opens your email, right? So you really need to spend a lot of time focusing on those headlines and really get that right. Otherwise, this critical piece of your marketing strategy isn't going to work. Emails only work when people open them. So
yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
Peter's asking,
sorry, I'm going to ask this one really quickly. What do you consider a good email open rate? 20% or higher, I would consider good. Anything below that, I'm trying to fix and get better. If we're like really good, like 25% and higher. But if you're in the 20s, like you're doing a good job. If you're doing way higher than that, like good job. You're writing really good content.
Cool. Cheryl is asking a follow-up here, or I'm sorry, Tom's asking a follow-up. What's one thing you thought was really important when you first started doing email marketing that you now feel is a waste of time?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know how to answer that yet, but Stephen, put that one down for no. I'm going to answer that one tomorrow, Tom, because I want to come up with a couple ideas, but I'm going to spend some more time thinking about it. So I'm not giving just a knee-jerk reaction. That's actually probably a good section tomorrow of things I thought were important that aren't actually important. Oh, one thing I thought was important that's not important. I'll tell you really quick. The design of the email. It's not important at all. I'm sorry. It's super unimportant. What I used to spend a lot of time doing is making my emails look really good. And then I found out that I was actually causing me to go into spam folders more frequently. So now I just send emails as plain text. Like you guys get the emails from Copyblogger, like they have nothing in them. There's no logos. There's nothing. What I do is I do a specific HTML layout. So let me do this quickly. I'm going to pull up the email.
While you're doing that, I have some additional stuff to add on this. I was an email marketing manager for a large pool supply company. So we sold a lot of pool products. And so we sent a lot of emails, and it was very design heavy, very graphic heavy. And one of the main, the key problem that I was, especially when I started, that I was coming in to solve was deliverability. Like the deliverability was just, and there were multiple brands and they were all tanking and they didn't know why. And I'm like, well, you're just sending images. Like they would just take the design out of Photoshop, plug it into the email, and that was the email. And that's no good. You want more text. Otherwise the email providers don't know what you're sending.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have some design elements, make sure it's an actual HTML so they can read the text and it's not just a bunch of images, or that's a no-go for email service providers.
Here's what the emails look like that send out. So here's what I change about the emails. I make the text a little bit bigger. I choose a specific font type, and then I add this footer. But again, it's all text. There are no images in any of the emails that we send out. It's super simple, but there are interesting. I'm thinking about doing a mastermind at some point. So there's a little link to apply here. That's custom. We switch that out once in a while to different things, but it's very simple. Very, very simple. So I do that for basically all of my clients. Okay, Ulysses, this is a great question. I am actually next month talking about how to start a successful online business. That is next month's masterclass. I have been doing online businesses since 2005. Long time. A long time. So the question is, Stephen, read the question, and that way I can focus on answering it. Ulysses' question in the chat.
Do you think there's a specific time frame we should wait for until we decide if an online business is going nowhere and we should rather just quit it?
Okay. I don't like giving myself an out because I like to solve the problem. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm doing the same business today as I was 5 years ago. But the way that I've done it, I'll just tell you the way that I've done it. I've given myself no outs. You're right, Shannon, burn the ships. This is not the best way for everybody to do it. Like the side hustle concept is super important. So I would say no. If you want it to work, it can work. I am pretty confident that I could help almost anybody make $100,000 online with their online business. I'm fairly confident. Like everybody in this room, there's no reason that you couldn't have an online business earning 6 figures in the next 2 years. period. There's no reason. The only reason really is you give up, or you choose to not learn from mistakes. You choose to keep doing the same things that aren't working. But I started an online business and I went all in. I had no money. I was making no money. And that was part of my motivation to help me figure this out. So no, I don't think so. The only reason I would quit an online business is if it's not serving you, like you're unhappy, you are depressed or sad or anxious, or you're not delivering on what your expectations are for your clients. Like it's just not working. Like if it's just plain not working for you, I would quit. But I wouldn't quit entirely. I would quit and find the thing that does work for me. So I am convinced. I'm convinced that everybody could have a 6-figure online business if they wanted to. Like I used to remember, Stephen. I used to remember, and guys, I'm going to go on a rant. Sorry, we have 12 minutes left. I'm going to go on a rant. I was born in a trailer house in rural Michigan, super poor. I was born like poor of the poor of the poor, poor kid, rural. Schools were not good. My dad was an electrician, a blue collar electrician. I was poor. I didn't have an education. Nobody taught me how to be an entrepreneur. Nobody. Not one person ever taught me. Yes, I grew up 2 hours north of Detroit, Stephen. So I understand. Somebody from Brant, Michigan. That's awesome. So those who are saying they're from Detroit and Brant, Michigan, you freaking know. Like you can visualize right now the trailer house that I grew up in on like 12 acres in the middle of nowhere. Like poor. Nobody taught me. My dad wasn't an entrepreneur. Nobody taught me. Shannon, we're connected. I like that. So nobody taught me. I went to school, high school. I played sports. I was just a regular kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I went to college to study theology. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I got a concussion. I got 6 concussions and I broke my knee socket. So I couldn't play college sports. That was like my whole life. And I one day read an article. I read a PDF by Chris Gillibo called 279 Days to Overnight Success. And he told me that anybody can make 6 figures from an online business. And in my mind, I thought, oh my gosh, if I could just make 6 figures owning a business, like that would change my life forever. Now, like we earn multiple 6 figures in a month, like not that long later, like not like 10 years later, you know, like it's just the only thing stopping you is your belief that you can't do it and your inability to learn how to do it. And here's the thing. If a freaking kid from a trailer house in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, can find the right resources to learn it and teach himself, then everybody here can do it. Everybody can start an online business. So Stephen just dropped a link in there for that PDF. Yeah, exactly, Shannon. Here I am now teaching other people. Exactly. And that's why I became a partner at Copyblogger. Again, I'm going to my rant's almost over, I promise you. That is why I bought in as a partner in Copyblogger, because Copyblogger was one of the things that helped me learn how to have an online business. It helped me so much. So that's why I'm here now. I'm here because I want to give back, because I believe that there are people who are right now in the position that I was in when I first started learning at 19 years old. I literally printed out that ebook. I literally printed it from a printer, went to a coffee shop and read it, turned to the pages. Like that's how old school it was. It is possible. So if you want to start an online business, it is 100% possible. Don't quit. The only reason it doesn't work is that you quit and then that's the end of the story. I promise you. I have had my businesses fail before. I've had clients be angry with me. I've had points where I failed a client. I've had points where clients accused me of not doing work, but like, you know what? I just kept going. So the story didn't end at any of my mistakes or any of my failures. The story kept going, and I used those mistakes and failures to help create the success that I wanted. Okay, done. Um, I'm so passionate about this. I think I think it's probably the thing I'm most passionate about online. It's like literally anybody can do this. I promise you, anybody. I've met a lady who made like $300,000 a year with a blog about succulent plants. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, so if she can do that, whatever
Amazing.
you care about, you can do. Like, the problem is like we just have all these like little stories in our heads about why we can't do it, and so we don't, and
Yeah,
we make excuses. Like, we
totally.
just don't show up consistently to do the stuff that we that will help us get there. So, Peter, you're awesome. You guys who are all here, all of you that are here are doing the things. This is
Yep.
it. This is part of
Yep.
doing it, right? Like investing in
Yep.
yourself, investing this money. Um, the online course, the online biz course will cover uh, how to find the right customers, how to position your business. I actually have notes somewhere. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be about identifying your target customer, identifying your promise and your product, identifying your distribution channels. That'll be the big 3 points that we talk about. So, yes. Okay. Cheryl, we have lots of time for questions. We are going to get to yours about portfolios. Um, Cheryl, we're going to have your question about portfolios be the first question tomorrow because I want to make sure that I spend a good amount of time on it. So thank you for being persistent. We have a whole hour tomorrow. So I will make sure that you get it and we talk about it. What I would love, Cheryl, to do this is Cheryl even subscribed to my email list, so I know that she's really paying attention. Can you come with some examples of the portfolio websites and like a specific example? Let's talk through a very specific example tomorrow. And I want to work through a very specific example that you have, and we'll talk through that tomorrow. So, what other questions today can we talk about, Stephen? What else might be there that we haven't?
Yeah. Matt asked, have you used CoScheduler's email subject line tester?
I haven't, but I heard it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Stephanie and Matt in one of those blog posts, the one that Stephanie wrote about subject lines, she actually, I believe it was Stephanie, she suggested using that, or maybe it was somebody else, but that was one of the ones. And yeah, it's great. There's another one from Advanced Marketing Institute or something like that. You can search for headline testers, but yeah, good stuff.
Cool. What other questions we got?
I've got one from Steven. I'm a bit fuzzy about how the long-term nurturing sequence works. Does this basically recycle the start of the nurture sequence up until their point of entry? What happens if they don't get past the new content? Can emails overlap? A little confused on the timing.
Okay. Let's do that one tomorrow too. So I'll have to spend more time and actually build that as well.
Okay, great.
Okay, so yes, so many people are asking about the masterclass next month. It's going to be for people who want to do like online courses, services, coaching, anything like that. Anything like that will cover for sure. Products, yeah, all of it will be covered. I don't think you guys maybe know this about me. I have software companies. I own software companies. I own education companies like Copyblogger, where courses are big. I also own service. My biggest company is a service-based company. So my service-based company makes 8 times what Copyblogger makes. Like, it's a very big service company. So service is definitely something I understand very well. A big proponent of that is coaching. The cost will be $149. All of our master classes are just $149. So it'll be this same format, although it's only going to be 4 days instead of 5 days. It's going to be $149, and y'all can opt in for that. It's just super easy. So we're going to call it a day today. Have your questions ready to go tomorrow. If we have time, and I would love to have some specific examples. So we will do some specific examples. Cheryl's going to be first, and we're going to do Cheryl's specific example. If you guys have other specific examples you want feedback on, like, we'll actually do some screen shares and walk through that stuff. It would be really, really great. Cool. Have a good day, guys. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.